Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office with another detailed tropical weather outlook and discussion for Friday, August the 4th, 2023. In this update, we are going to be looking at the tropics because there are signs later down the road we could see a very busy late August into September. More on that in just a second. But before I do get started, if you're new, please consider subscribing. If you like these updates, consider liking the video and sharing this video with your family and friends on social media. Now, taking a look at the true color satellite imagery provided by Dr. Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com. There will be a link in the description below this video leading to his website where you can view these satellite images for free. There's no cost whatsoever. You can share them on social media. You can do a lot. So there will be a link in the description. So when we take a look at the satellite imagery here, we can see that we really have a clobbery type mess out here. There's really nothing to watch for at all because we have a lot of this drier air to the north that is coming off of Africa. So it's really dominant this year, the dry Saharan air. Not a lot of dust, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot of dry air at all. You can really get an idea with those stable cumulus clouds or nimbo stratus to the north there with the trade wind flow, an indication we have a lot of dry air coming off of Africa within this belt of relatively moist air coming in out of the southwesterly direction. And when we get a lot of this drier air, it really just overwhelms the entire moist envelope. And the ending result is we're not able to get a whole lot of tropical development. The background state is not favorable just yet. Now, when we look at the Tropical Tidbits website, actually not that yet. Let's take a look at the NHC first, and then we'll look at that, because we need to see with what we have going on. And of course, there is nothing in the Atlantic in the next 7 days, which is nice, right? It's so good to not see anything at all. No areas to watch. In fact, my Twitter post, I did mark an area of interest still, but has a 0% chance of developing in the next 7 days. So really not a whole lot going on. By the way, you can follow me on Twitter for more on those outlooks, as they are not officially by the NHC. I want to make that clear with you all, but I do those on a daily basis, maybe sometimes twice a day if necessary. So nothing going on in the Atlantic. Let's take a look at the East Pac, where we do have major Hurricane Dora. This is headed towards the west at about 10 to 15, about 15, even 20-ish miles an hour, and winds are up to 120 miles an hour. We also have another area to watch here off of central Mexico, not far off at all. This has a 90% chance of tropical formation in the next 7 days. Really quickly, I wanted to show you all where Dora is headed, and right now, good news for Hawaiian people that live there that want to visit, and you know, that's a big tourist attraction. It's good to not see a hurricane headed that way. It's going to be missing with plenty of distance. There is no threat at all. The only thing you're going to probably see is stronger trade winds, winds out of the easterly direction between maybe 25 to 40 miles an hour, but it won't really be rainy, nothing substantial. However, on the windward side, so the winds blowing toward the island, you might get some enhancement of precipitation on the big island of Hawaii, maybe some of these smaller islands. But on the leeward side, I mean, it is really dry typically, and I don't think you would see anything other than some gusty winds at times. So that's a look at Dora right now. 120 mile an hour winds. It is a major hurricane right now, and it is expected to remain a major hurricane for the next 12 or so hours before it begins to weaken slowly down to a category 2 over the next 5 or so days. So now taking a look at our European model, because we want to look at this. I am not putting a lot of effort at all this year into the GFS. It hasn't done well. Even Mark Sedeth on YouTube, a link in the description below this video leading to that channel, he was even saying that GFS just hasn't done good. And so we're not going to be using the GFS for the time being, and we're really going to only rely on the European model, which seems to be more accurate and more realistic. Also, along to go with that, more conservative, because at the end of the day, I'm doing my job here as good as I can at not hyping up things, not scaring you all, because we do got to be careful by late August into September, where we might get a lot more activity eventually, because it's climatological. You know, it kind of it's a science backs it up. So the European model here for this afternoon illustrates one big thing out there, and that is this sprawling ridge of high pressure. Just not favorable. Lots of dust outbreaks, or not really dust outbreaks, but a lot of SAL events coming off of Africa, which means Saharan air layer. So the air is dry out here. It's stable. There's shear. It's just not favorable when you look at the thermodynamics and kinematics. Just not allowing anything to get started at the moment. Yeah, we do have a couple of tropical waves right out here, but I mean, the background state, the dry air, the stableness, the air is sinking, it warms and dries. It's just not going to not going to spark anything. In other words, it's like your car is almost ready to turn over. You know how you could hear it go, but it's just not. It's just not turning over, kind of thing. And that's what the atmosphere is doing right now. We're almost there, but we need to give it more torque or more gas to get it going, right? And so the background state's just not there right now, but we should see things change by late August, as they typically do. You know how that all rolls. We saw that last year. We saw a dead August, but look at September and October. We got mini named storms. So for Sunday, the next couple of days here, sprawling ridge, tropical wave coming off of Africa again. But again, you can see I'm just going to fast forward this all the way through the next 5 days. Just nothing out there. There's just nothing to worry about in the short term, and even in the long term, out to 180 hours out. This is through August the 11th. We do have a couple of areas here. Eventually, we shall see with what the Euro wants to do with that. The ensembles are not picking up on it at all. I mean, none of the ensembles are showing anything, but the operational is showing something. We have another area coming off of Africa. We will wait and see. You never know with what these tropical waves can do, because, we're getting closer and closer to the favorability in the climatological period for these systems. However, what doesn't make sense is this ridge to the north. This is quite strong, quite large, and maybe more Saharan dust outbreaks could be possible, and I just don't see anything. However, we do see that, maybe something else in the main development region. We're just going to have to be patient, right? So now looking at our deep layer moisture plot, I wanted to show you all this. Again, really illustrating with what I just showed you all. Lots of dry air. I mean, look at all this brown out here. I mean, that's unfavorable. That is poison to hurricanes and tropical systems. It's like black widow venom kind of being injected into your skin, and it's just, your body doesn't like it. Well, that's kind of what this is. This is poison, or tropical storm poison in the atmosphere, which is the dry air. And this continues all the way through the next 4 to 5 days. Again, more dry air coming off of Africa. I mean, look at this, is pretty far south for this time of the year to see the ITCZ, which is the Intertropical Convergence Zone. And I mean, look at out to 10 days, really, really dry. I mean, I'm not putting a lot of whole hope here so far right now in early to mid-August that we will see anything substantial at this given rate on the models, because it's just so dry. I mean, these relative humidity values are about 5 to 10%. So dry that nothing could even just thronder and kind of thrive in that environment. Now, we're going to show you something here. Sea surface temperatures, oh my goodness, they are really, really warm. Actually, we got weather bell here. I got a weather bell sector. Here we go. This helps out a lot. Look at these sea surface temperatures. I mean, these have really warmed. And if I just take you back since July 1st, let's go back to July 1st, right here. I mean, look at how warm these sea surface temperatures actually were compared to now. I mean, look at how warm they have gotten. I mean, we're right here, we're almost up to 30 Celsius. 30 Celsius waters down here. We're up to 32 Celsius across the Gulf of Mexico, and I'll show you a closer zoomed in view at the Caribbean, including for the Gulf of Mexico here in just a second. But my goodness, very, very warm waters here in the 80s, even low 90s. I'm telling you folks, if anything moves into this environment or into this area and the environment is favorable, be really significant. So closer zoomed in view here at the Gulf of Mexico. Let me go into my full screen sector here. And yeah, I mean, this is 32 Celsius. Okay, right in here. 32 Celsius, 32 Celsius here. And even a little bit of an island right off the southern tip here of Florida. Just a little island of 32 Celsius. But all in here is all 31 Celsius. This has expanded even further than yesterday. I mean, 31 Celsius here, 31 Celsius. I mean, pretty much half of the Gulf right now is getting bathed with 31 Celsius waters, which is, I mean, that's 88, 89, I mean, probably 89 degrees, close to 90 degrees, not just at the shelf, you all, the shelf waters. I mean, we're talking deep here into the mid portion here of the Gulf of Mexico. And yeah, these oranges here are probably about 31.5 degrees Celsius or 88 to 89 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, this is really alarming, all right? And I don't say that very lightly. And I mean, the coldest waters we could even find here are at around 28 Celsius. That's 2 degrees warmer than you need to support a major to violent hurricane. So my point here is the entire Gulf of Mexico, either way you put it, is favorable now, fully conducive for violent hurricanes should everything line up perfectly. I mean, and we're gonna be showing you another product that I like to look at here, illustrating just how concerning or how concerned I am with the Gulf of Mexico, how warm these waters actually are. Another area that I like to look at, oops, I don't want to get my eyes off of that. Let me go and take a look here. I mean, look at the waters over here in the Northeast. Okay, I always like looking at the northeastern U.S., the northwestern Atlantic. I mean, this is 26 Celsius all in here. 26 Celsius, this is 29 Celsius, 30 Celsius here. I mean, if we get anything that moves up the coast here into the Northeast, one, it's not going to weaken as quickly as it would typically be. And boy, if we get something that is very strong and is able to kind of move quickly like some of these other hurricanes have done, oh man, there's going to be a lot of problems. A lot of problems. And I don't say that very lightly at all. Because, I mean, this is not good at all, seeing water temperatures this warm. I mean, if we go back even from last year really quickly, I mean, let's go back to Weather Bell here, and you can see the difference here. This was last year, okay? Let's go to August the 2nd, here we go. This was last year. The warmest it ever got was 31 Celsius in the Gulf of Mexico. Now let's kind of blow past this really quickly and look at the difference. Look at this. Take note. 3, 2, and 1. Boom. Man o' livin'. Much warmer than it was last year at this time. Look at the difference. I mean, wow. I mean, that's a big deal. That is something that we have not seen in a while. Actually, we haven't seen water temperatures this warm in a while. I mean, in like forever, probably. So now, I wanted to show you this product, and I want you all to please listen to me very closely. So open those ears up very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is pretty alarming, okay? But I want you all to understand what this product is everything lining up. So let's just assume that the background state was favorable. We had no shear. We had shear less than 5 or so knots. We had very high upper ocean heat content, which we do. We have very warm sea surface temperatures, which we do. But imagining if we did not have the shear and we had a lot of moisture in the deep layers of the atmosphere. Okay, so imagining if a lot of this green was all over here. Let's just say that, okay? Or even over here in the middle of the main development region. That's what this product illustrates. It's like, what if everything came together and it was absolutely pristine, the Goldilocks zone of all favorability, everything just came together perfect. Okay, so what this shows you is how strong could hurricanes get under a perfectly favorable environment in the atmosphere and everything came together. Well, right now, much of the Atlantic over here in the central North Atlantic could support major hurricanes. Category 3, Category 4 intensity. The areas here in blue, I wouldn't really worry much about this over here off of the coast of Africa, because we really don't get major hurricanes that just kind of rapidly intensify immediately once they come off of Africa. They do take some time, but it's this area over here which we really look at, okay? Right in here, okay? All through here, that blue illustrates Category 5 or greater. Okay, so we're talking violent hurricane intensity if everything came together. And yeah, the Gulf of Mexico would be outrageous. I mean, this is off the charts. This is 165 knot plus winds. That would be almost 200 mile an hour winds. Okay, that the Gulf of Mexico could support if everything came together. It's very, 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 very extremely hard for that to occur. But I'm telling you, folks, if everything came together, whoa, we could see something. We could see hurricanes similar to Michael. We could see hurricanes similar to Ian, Harvey, Katrina, Irma, Maria, Matthew. You remember all of those. We could see something in the books of Alan, Wilma, Ivan. I mean, I can name down a lot of hurricanes that took full advantage of the waters out here in the Florida area, in the Gulf of Mexico, in the Caribbean. What I'm just trying to tell you all right now is that the water temperatures are ready to go. That's for sure. We have upper ocean heat content that is absolutely substantial, pretty much at points here, uncharted territory. And I mean, when we get anything that lines up, we get any tracks that do this, or even kind of simply kind of curve out along the eastern seaboard, we could see some very strong to violent hurricanes, especially in early September, mid-September, I think is the best opportunity for that. Even in very late August, we could see something explode very quickly. So I just want to make my point clear with this product here. And I mean, also look at the pressure really quickly. I mean, 880 millibars that the Gulf of Mexico could support. I mean, that would be Patricia intensity, and Patricia reached well over 200 mile an hour sustained winds. That's enough to really obliterate anything in its path. Equivalent of an EF4 tornado. Yeah. All right, so upper ocean heat content is very substantial. We're way up there. I mean, the northwestern Caribbean, southeastern Gulf of Mexico, uncharted, historic, off the charts in terms of its numbers, 175 plus in some of these areas. So, I mean, I'm just telling you, the Caribbean and the Gulf are so warm that it is going to take more than just a few hurricanes that are intense to upwell cooler water. I mean, it might upwell a little bit, but not a whole lot to really knock or shave down those water temperatures. So I'm just telling you, a lot of heat content, really, it's just like a rubber band. Everything, a lot of tension, a lot of heat energy, a lot of pressure building up there. in the deep tropics, as well as the Gulf of Mexico and the northwestern Caribbean. Now, it doesn't have to be busy this Atlantic hurricane season. I just want to let you all know that right now. The background state, who knows? Will it cooperate? Will it all come together? All we know is that sea surface temperatures are not the only thing that we look at, and it takes more than just that for a really active season. But I'm just telling you, when things do this, when things line up like in layers of lasagna or like a cake, have you ever seen those wedding cakes, how everything just kind of lines up? It's that we look for. I mean, the low levels, the mid levels, and the upper levels, everything has to come together. And when it does, you will know it, because we'll be tracking probably mini tropical storms, tropical waves, and hurricanes potentially. So now the question is, when will it get busy? There has been some talk that will it be a bust? Will it actually get busy? I do see something coming down the pipe here, potentially by mid to late August. Potentially we could see some more upward motion over Africa, over the central Atlantic. We might even see a little bit of a rising cell over the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, so we'll have to watch for that too. This is mid-August. Right now, we're just not seeing anything really lining up just yet, but we do have some upward motion in the Atlantic, but just wait. The dust, when the things get, the climatological allows, I think we're going to have a really busy period. The MJO, really not busy at all. It's just in the null state at this moment, and therefore we're not seeing a lot of MJO activity. Now, I did want to show you all one last thing really quickly. Let's go over here to climatology from the National Hurricane Center, and let's take a look at this really quickly. This is for the Atlantic. So we typically do not see our first hurricane on average until August the 11th. Okay, and this was updated as of 2020. All right, August 11th, we typically don't see our first hurricane. We don't see our first major hurricane usually until at least September 1st. So we are still ahead of schedule. We don't even see our fourth named storm until August the 15th. So we're still above normal as far as our number of named storms. It's just, again, the climatology is not there yet. But once we get there, you'll know it, and the models will soon latch onto that. So right now, we're pretty much right here right now. So we really haven't begun the increase. In fact, we're the equivalent here of late October, early November. So we have a long, long way to go. And it's usually that last, let me look on my calendar here really quick. It's usually pretty much the last weekend of August when we look at things. So like maybe August the 25th, the 26th is when I believe we're going to have a huge barrage, a huge burst of tropical activity in the Atlantic. And look out, it could be a really big one. Just because it's quiet now doesn't mean we should just turn against the Atlantic hurricane season that, oh, it's not going to be very busy this year. All right. Well, anyways, that's going to do with this discussion, folks. If you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. You guys mean so much to me. I'm excited to track the Atlantic hurricane season. Of course, we're doing that right now on YouTube. But of course, you could follow me on Twitter for those detailed outlooks. Follow Pat's Path Predictor. There's a link in the description. I mean, we both, me and Pat, are pretty much collaborating back and forth here on the Atlantic hurricane season. And yeah, I mean, we're going to provide you the best hurricane information that we can possible. That's going to do it, folks. I'll be back with you with a live stream tomorrow on my Davis infrastructure upgrade. I'm excited to share that with you all. All right, peace out.